Hey guys, Brady here with your daily tennis lessons. So we're looking at handling this heavy, deep ball coming at us on the baseline this week. Previous videos that I've shown you guys are little special pieces of footwork on how to get back, how to just play against the ball from a deeper position. I alluded to the idea that the obvious play for most people against a heavy, deep ball is to step up and take it on the rise. And that's what we're going to look at today. All right, so a couple things that we want to know about in order to step up and take this ball on the rise. One, style of play. All right, I feel like I'm a pretty aggressive tennis player. And for all of you out there that like to play aggressively, I still advocate to try to back up on the first couple attempts against this heavy deep ball in a rally. Just get your bearings, kind of get used to seeing how that ball takes off, and make it more of a progression leading up to the idea of taking the ball on the rise, because it's just a lower percentage shot. You know, there's less margin for error when we step up onto the line and take that ball as it's exploding off the ground. So to do that on our first attempt in a rally, I just think that there's just too many unforced errors built into that. So as we look at on the rise today, I want you to still remember that I like the idea of you guys playing a couple of these from behind the baseline first before we get into this. All right, so three things we're going to look at today: positioning, timing, and then the path the racket takes on this ball. Positioning wise, if Mark goes ahead and feeds me this heavy deep ball, in order for me to take it on the rise, I think it makes sense to all you guys and girls out there that I have to step up, because if I wait for it in my normal ready position here, the ball's going to get too far out of my strike zone and a lot of times knock me back. I want my weight going forward, and I want to have a chance to catch it a little closer to shoulder height. So Mark, go ahead and feed me one. Position wise, you know, right about there, if I'm making contact at about that height, maybe even a little bit higher, I think that I'm in a great spot to hit this ball on the rise. But you guys have to make sure, this is one of the biggest flaws I see with the on the rise forehand, is that the idea is there to go out and get it early, and yet we're unwilling to step up with the feet. That is a really important idea here in executing an on the rise forehand against this heavy deep ball, is move the feet up, so position forward. All right, secondly, timing. As you could see, that was kind of a tricky proposition for me to catch that ball in my hand as it explodes up. Timing, again, we need to meet the ball in front of the body. So the swing has to be fast. We've got to get that racket moving to catch the ball in front of us. And we want to pick that ball, again, like we said, pretty close to shoulder height as it's coming off the ground. We saw this in a video last week. This ball, if we let it reach its apex, is going way up and dropping back in this zone. So that point of contact that's around my shoulder occurs relatively early coming up off that bounce. So you guys have to have your timing down. Be ready to swing early at this tennis ball. And then the path that the racket should be taking, if you guys have seen any of my videos on just kind of shorter court on the rise shots, I really love the idea that the racket, when it comes through at shoulder height, should stay relatively level. We're not looking to have a ton of drop, and we don't want a bunch of height on the follow through. We're trying to just plow through the ball, which means I'm starting at about shoulder height and probably finishing at shoulder height. So if I put those three ingredients together, I'm thinking, okay, step up position wise, timing wise, be swinging early and fast to keep the ball out in front of me, and let that racket stay relatively across my shoulder line, not a lot of elevation in the swing. All right, so let's go ahead and have a look at a couple of these. On the rise against this heavy deep ball, that was pretty good right there, okay? First one, I caught it a little early. I got that ball cross court. Second one, just slightly late, which is something to think about. If I target cross court against this ball, you guys, which has me thinking hit early, and I end up catching it a little bit late, which is going to happen to all of us, we still make the ball. That is a really nice built-in margin for error. So very rarely should you guys ever be thinking step up on the rise against a heavy deep ball and go down the line. Because if you hit that late, now you're missing. All right, let's take a look at it one more time. All right. So, again, progress to that point. I love that shot. I'm not even trying to go out and hit that ball the first time my opponent hits this heavy, deep, high bouncing ball. I'm taking my cuts from the back of the court a couple times and working up to that aggressive on the rise shot. All right, so I hope that was super helpful for you guys. We've got one more video coming later in the week working on short hopping the exact same ball. Probably the toughest proposition of all of them, but let's dive into that later in the week. But until then, if you could click like below this video, I would appreciate it. And also check down below me in the description of this video. You'll find the link to 3 free courses Mark and I have done. I think you'll find those very helpful as well. So until next time, be well. We'll see you soon.